Hi, welcome back. Sarah here. Today we're going to be doing some test driving readings with the Linestrider Tarot. Let me explain what this new series or this new idea is. So basically today in this video, I'm going to be doing some test driving or some on-the-fly readings with this tarot deck to try to use it for the first time, kind of break the ice with it, just make sure that I'm doing some first readings with it. And the reason why I want to do this is because I bought the Linestrider Tarot a year or two ago. I kept telling myself that one of these days I'm going to pull it out for readings once I get to do like a first impressions for it, or do a walkthrough of it for myself, or maybe once I study it. I don't know. I just kept telling myself, like, once I get to do these things with the deck first, then I will pull it out for regular readings. But the thing is, I've never pulled it out for regular readings, and in the year that I've had it, I still haven't like pulled it out to do any sort of walkthrough or like deck interview or breaking in with the deck. So I figured, let me just try it, try doing some test readings with it, some on-the-fly readings on camera. You know, that'll be my icebreaker with the deck. So instead of waiting until I have like a formalized process for getting to know the deck, let's just jump in the deep end and just do some readings with it. Not only am I getting to try out the deck on the table, try to see how the cards work together, try to see what intuitive hits I can come up with or things I can notice in the art, but also for people watching, hopefully this gets you to see just how the deck plays, how the deck reads, how the images work with each other, just things like that. Because I think it is really easy to see these cards one by one and be like, ooh, this deck is really pretty, that's so cool. But the more important thing than just a deck being pretty is how do we read with it? How does it read? Am I getting any connections or intuitive messages or any inspiration when I actually lay the cards out in a table, lay them out in a spread, try to apply them to readings? So that is the aim of this video today, to try to test drive this deck, do some practice readings with it on camera so that you and I can both see how this deck works and if it's any good. All right. I feel like the way that I read tarot is pretty simple, so I'm just going to demonstrate the 3 typical ways that I read tarot. One is going to be with a 2-card spread, secondly with random 3-card spreads, and thirdly a conversational reading. And of course you can skip ahead into whichever chapter you want in the YouTube progress bar. So let's get started with the first type of reading. Hello, the Hierophant. All right. Oh yes, real quick, I also want to mention the guidebook. This is the guidebook. It is a big book. It typically comes with a big box. I don't have the box. The person did not sell it to me with the box. If you're curious about the guidebook, they have some keywords for the card, a write-up about what the card generally means, what the card means in a reading, and what it means when it's reversed. Also a few correspondences. But yeah, I have not looked at the guidebook much, but that is also there for my reference if I really need it. Okay, let's do some on-the-fly readings. All right, so the first type of spread or reading we're going to do is a simple 2-card reading. This is one of my favorite spreads. It is receive and release. Receive as in what can I allow in? What can I be more receptive of? What can I receive into my heart? Release, what can I let go of? What can I purge? What can I just release? Very straightforward spread. I find this spread very easy to work with because it provides an easy contrast between these 2 cards. Please forgive the ugly washi tape. I thought that these post-its would stay put, but they need some washi tape to stay put. All right, so we're just gonna go for it. I've got my little crochet hook as my little pointer here. While I'm doing these readings, do feel free to pause or just mute me if you want to try reading the images for yourself and see what comes up for you too. This is just as much as for you as it is for me. Okay, so we're just gonna read these as little general readings, general messages. Receive the 5 of Pentacles, release the Queen of Cups. Right off the bat, I do see a contrast. I would expect us to want to receive the Queen of Cups because this looks a lot more colorful, a lot prettier. Receiving the 5 of Pentacles, possibly just be aware of or just kind of own up to the fact that we may be in a difficult position right now. Whereas we want to release, I almost see this release as the appearance of being put together and the appearance of being emotionally stable. I think sometimes we can try to seem like everything is fine, or that we're not going through any trouble because we just want to feel fine. We just want to feel, we want to avoid feeling bad about ourselves. So that's kind of what I see right now. Receive, just possibly not feeling great, knowing that you need some support right now, and release the idea that you have to be emotionally stable or just emotionally fine. Cool, first reading done. Okay, receive 6 of Swords, release the 10 of Cups. Receive 6 of Swords, release 10 of Cups. So I see some darkness, some shadows over here, and kind of similar to the other ones, more brightness over here. Okay, so this feels like a message to be receiving, be more open to the energy of moving forward. I see a little bit of wanting to kind of keep your eyes trained on the horizon, kind of keep your eyes trained on your goal. Focus your sights on moving forward, moving towards your goal. Release 10 of Cups. Maybe release the idea that you kind of reached the end, knowing that you have some more ways to go. This is not the end. This is not like the permanent happiness point of your life. I noticed this hat right here. It looks like a nightcap, looks like a sleeping cap. Like, I've reached the end, I'm ready to go to bed. That's kind of the feeling that it gives me. So that's the first thing that comes to mind. Just be open to moving forward, release the idea that you have completed some sort of journey, that you've reached the end, that, you know, your emotions are stable, there's nothing left to feel or experience ever again. Interesting. Receive the Emperor, release the Six of Pentacles. Interesting. I've never seen this type of Six of Pentacles before. Okay. Very interesting opposite colors here. We have red and gold here. We have green, yellow, red and gold, red and green being opposite colors. Okay, so the first thing that comes to mind with the Emperor is typically like discipline, some structure. Releasing Six of Pentacles, though, that is an interesting contrast. Nothing really comes to mind here. This is an interesting combination I haven't seen before. Receive the idea that sometimes things just have to follow an orderly manner, a certain flow for them to work. Release the idea that everything is a little bit transactional and has to be paid back. That's the first thing that comes to mind. I don't know if it's any good, but, you know, we're just going to spitball and move on there. Okay, receive the Knight of Cups, release the Ace of Wands. This is a really interesting Knight of Cups. I see the overlay of the fish here. I see the knight riding a horse straight on. It's really interesting to see a knight facing the viewer instead of facing to the left or right like knights typically are. That's cool. Oh, so both of these cards have this like vertical shape to them. Okay, so receive something more emotional, release something more, I almost want to say primal, but I don't know if that's the right word, something more fiery. I also think it's interesting for a Wands card that this is having blue in it instead of having red. Sitting on it for a few seconds, I thought of this. We want to release the idea that you always have to be coming up with new ideas or having something new on the back burner or something new in your hands. Just receive what it feels like to be more emotionally fulfilled. The Ace of Wands I associate it with creation. And I actually was just going through this a few days ago where I didn't have any ideas or anything that I really wanted to work on. And I felt like, oh no, what do I do? I'm never going to make anything ever again. But I think receive here, it's a sign for you to just go for more like emotional fulfillment right now. Go for something that just makes your heart feel happy and nourished rather than trying to create something and, I don't know, have some magician energy. So that's the first thing I got there. Okay, so those are a few combinations so far. I'm going to set these aside so that we can practice reading with more cards from the deck. Let's move on to the next section. So for this next section, we are going to do some practice 3-card readings. I've pulled out some cards from my favorite spread deck, the Spread Crafter's Oracle, or as I like to call it, the Spread Machine Oracle. We've got 3 categories laid out here. We've got light work, which is all themes of expansion, empowerment, shadow work, which is all prompts based around disempowerment and shadow work. And this section is the call to action, advice, what to do next, what to focus on next. I feel like this deck can also use some more play out on the table, so I'm really happy to be trying to use it in this way. So we're gonna lay out some cards. We'll do some practice readings this way. So this spread here, we've got generosity, victimhood, and forgive. What do we need to forgive? Generosity, we've got the 6 of Cups. Victimhood, 10 of Wands. Forgive, the 4 of Pentacles. Generosity, 6 of Cups. Victimhood, 10 of Wands. Forgive, 4 of Pentacles. Generosity, victimhood, forgive. Sorry, I am repeating things a lot, but that's how I just have things click in my mind sometimes. Okay, so the first thing that I see here with victimhood and with the 10 of Wands, first of all, I see an ink blot back here, although it kind of looks like a hole in the body. The 10 of Wands with victimhood definitely to me feels like you feel like you have to carry these burdens all by yourself. Or I'm going to use I instead of you, just to make things not feel as personal to the viewer out there, I guess. So maybe I would feel like I have a lot of burdens to carry on my own. Maybe I feel like there's no way that I can get out of this. There's no better way to do this. This reminds me of when a friend kind of suggested to me last year that maybe therapy might help with some of these emotional Emotional constipation moments I was having. I felt like I was crying a lot for different reasons, but I honestly felt like there wasn't anything wrong with me. And now, a year later, I have gone to therapy. Granted, it was couples therapy, but it was helpful. I can see what she was saying about how, like, me crying all the time, there was a better way that I could have expressed myself or worked through my emotions, but I didn't know that at the time. Anyway, I'm not going to say personal stories for every reading, but that's one example that comes to mind with victimhood and with 10 of Wands. At the time, I felt like these 10 Wands, these burdens that I'm carrying, this is just the way that I am. This is just the best way to do it. I didn't know that there could be a different way of going about it that might be more helpful for me. Generosity. How can I practice generosity? Six of Cups. I see some kindness, some graciousness. Typically, the Six of Cups is about nostalgia to a younger person, but I could see this just being kind and gracious towards other people. The Wayman Wong quote comes to mind. Let's just be kind even when we don't know what's going on. I feel like that ties in really well to the 10 of Wands here too. You don't know what wand someone else is carrying. So how can I keep practicing generosity? Just finding it in myself to be kind. With Forgive, Four of Pentacles, going from a 10 to a 4, some of these sticks kind of look like wands in this card as well. So it just feels like kind of put down what isn't mine to hold anymore. Okay, I'm going to try to wrap it up because I don't want to spend this much time on every single reading. They're just supposed to be test driving, but I feel like I'm getting something here. I just can't quite put it into words. Anyway, I think just with Forgiving with the Four of Pentacles, it just feels like kind of keeping your resources a little bit tight, a little bit handy, just allowing yourself to focus on what you do have energy to focus on. And for whatever you can't focus on or have the capacity for right now, just kind of let it sit down for now. That's the only thing I'll say about that. Let's move on here. All right. Next, we've got affirmation, wound, and practice. What is the truth that you need to hear right now? How have you been hurt in the past? Practice, what can you put into action? Okay, let's see. Affirmation, Queen of Pentacles. The wound, Page of Swords. Practice, the Empress. Okay, this feels a lot like that generosity thing that we were just talking about. Looking at these cards, they all look like kind of people cards or character cards, which is interesting. Something I see here with affirmation is possibly affirming or validating that I have tried to take care of others, take care of myself, take care of things. Just taking care is the affirmation, the key word that comes to mind right now. With wound, Page of Swords, maybe people have said something to me, people have said things without thinking, but I kind of carry those words with me as if their thoughts kind of controlled my future or dictated my future. Practice with the Empress, I see a bit of graciousness here. They're bearing their breasts out. It feels a little bit of like vulnerability. It feels a little bit like just giving sensitive or vulnerable, something, what's the word? I don't know what the word is, just something personal to you, I guess. So despite having the wound that people's words might be hurtful for you, just practice still giving a personal side of yourself because that has shown to be helpful for other people. And some people need you to be vulnerable and authentic and real. It goes back to the affirmation here where people do find solace in your company. People do find comfortability in who you are and how you conduct yourself. Okay, let's keep going. I hope this is helpful. And let's do one more here. Okay, self-care, repression, and lead. So self-care, the King of Swords, repression, the Devil, lead, Seven of Pentacles. Okay, let's see what comes up. Self-care, King of Swords, repression, the Devil, lead, the Seven of Pentacles. What can you do to nurture your mind, body, spirit? First of all, seeing swords makes me think of like puzzles, so really taking care of your mental side as well. Another thing that comes to mind here, not only doing puzzles, but like doing management types of games. I think the King of Swords is someone who enjoys managing or who enjoys games where they get to make decisions or, I don't know, dialogue-based games. Repression, the Devil, what is being pushed down? What are you refusing to feel? What are you resisting to acknowledge? Probably there's just feelings that you've been avoiding. Maybe there's just past baggage that you haven't reckoned with. That's the first thing that comes to mind here. Leading with the Seven of Pentacles to be the role model to set an example. This is an interesting Seven of Pentacles. I don't see much of the traditional Seven of Pentacles energy here. Okay. I don't see much of the traditional evaluating a bush, evaluating flowers energy here. That's interesting. I don't really know what to do here either. This is an interesting exercise. I guess if I try to think about it, one thing that comes to mind is sitting on your nest. If I talk about the card out loud, maybe that'll give me some ideas on where to go. I see a bird. They're kind of facing back towards the rest of the spread here. We've got their nest. They've got things spilling out of their nest. But it doesn't seem like this bird is in a hurry to try to like scoop these things back up or to look at it. So maybe that's a way that you can kind of lead by example, to show others by example, or lead yourself. Just allow yourself to have some things that are not all put together all the time. Allow some things to be a little bit messy or a little bit undone. You'll take care of them when it gets there, but if they're not urgent, you don't need to worry about them right now. I guess that's one thing that comes to mind. Okay, so that's about 3 practice readings. I'll stop it right there. Okay, so for this third reading exercise, let's pull a topic from the focus areas of the Spread Machine Oracle, and we're going to do a conversational reading just to spitball and see how the cards come out on the table. What topic are we reading about today? Wellness, health, and self-care. Wow, just like the last reading that just popped up. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and flip this 5-minute timer over just to try to keep this reading contained within 5 minutes. That'll be cool. Okay, wellness, health, and self-care. Let's start us off, Jack. What is a topic or the opening question for this reading? The topic of wellness, health, and self-care. Let's do, we got the 2 of Cups. So some sort of connection, emotional connection, maybe something that you've been fancying at the moment. So maybe self-care right now, or for your health or wellness, is leaning into something that makes you feel fulfilled, especially if it's something new that maybe you've been interested about, but maybe you haven't given yourself enough time to really get into it. Okay, what is the nature or the reason why this thing is beneficial for us? Let's do, the Hanged Man. Okay. Wow, interesting creature. It looks like a tiger at first glance, but not really. It just looks like some sort of creature I don't recognize. Okay, so the Hanged Man next to the 2 of Cups. The nature of this thing, why this thing is helpful for us to focus on, is because it helps us kind of put the rest of our issues at bay. It helps us feel like we don't have to worry about those things until later. It feels like basically some escapism. I think sometimes we can pressure ourselves to try to take care of everything like right away or always focus on everything right away. But the Hanged Man feels like, it's okay for you to let things simmer, let things sit for a little bit. You don't have to be actively focused on everything all the time. Okay, then I want to ask, like, what kinds of issues have we been focusing on that we may need to let sit for a while? Let's see. This one here. The Fool. Maybe there's something new that we've started or something that we've been wanting to move away from. I'm going to draw 2 cards here. Let's see, the Fool and the Knight of Pentacles. Okay. So the Knight of Pentacles to me feels like a work related, not work as in like career, but just something that you have to be working on and be really disciplined on. But the Fool feels like avoidance of that kind of work. The Fool is literally walking away from this Knight of Pentacles here, which is like, I don't want to do this work. I don't really want to focus on that. I really want to do something else. So I think this makes sense with the spread so far, because looking at the Hanged Man, it feels like, okay, clearly we are avoiding doing this work. Let's let it sit for a while. Let's dedicatedly put it down as we focus on something else that is actually nurturing us. Some new project or some new hobby, some new game, some new relationship that is, making us a little bit more happy. I think that really makes sense too, because if we're not inspired to actually do the work is going to feel so much more worse, So I think it's okay for some self-care. Enjoy something a little bit more emotional and fulfilling right now than just the work that we're kind of dreading. Okay, I guess what is a benefit of the 2 of Cups here then? Like what will come out of us kind of diving more into this 2 of Cups? Okay, 3 of Pentacles. Perhaps this new thing that we are kind of into or infatuated with is an opportunity to work, an opportunity to collaborate. I don't want to say excited about an opportunity to work because we're trying to avoid work. But maybe actually that's the nature of this other thing that we're like into right now. This is another thing that we're interested in working on. And it's also proving more emotionally fulfilling than this other thing that we are not really interested in working on. And maybe this 3 of Pentacles also proves to be like more of a collaborative opportunity. Whereas the Knight of Pentacles definitely feels very solo. Not only is there only one character, but the view of the card, this person seems like farther away than these birds here, You see them up close. It's like, I want to focus on these people working together. And this work just feels really far away. It feels like a little bit disconnected. Let's add one more to the Three of Pentacles here. Just adding on to the benefit of leaning into this Two of Cups thing that we're infatuated with right now. The Queen of Wands. Okay, so the Queen of Wands makes me feel like this work, this thing here is inspiring us. I think of the Queen of Wands as someone who is not only radiant, but they also inspire other people to shine their own light and to be radiant in your own right. Although interesting to see, this Queen of Wands does not, facially speaking, this person does not look like they're here to inspire you to be great. They look more like a Queen of Swords type, very serious. The colors here are really interesting. The monochromatic looking colors are honestly really cool to look at. Okay. Let's do one more card for advice then. Just one more card. What is the takeaway advice here? Four of Cups. Okay. So Four of Cups feels like kind of repeating what we said at the beginning, just allowing some things to sit. We don't always have to be open to new emotions or new experiences. We don't have to force ourselves to work on things that we're not emotionally fulfilled by at this moment. It's okay for us to take time away from the work that's not fulfilling us. Try to focus on things that are allowing us to emotionally rest. Because being invested in things and being excited about things, that does take emotional energy as well as mental and physical energy. So emotionally, it feels like right now is just the time to let your emotions sit, do something a little bit more fun, maybe trivial, than just working all the time. Okay, cool. All right, so that concludes the 5-minute conversational reading. So these are the cards that we were able to look at in the deck today. These are the cards that we did not get a chance to see. So those are some test driving readings on camera with the Linestrider Tarot. I really enjoyed doing this, especially on camera, getting to see how the cards play together. Like I said at the beginning, it can be easy to think a deck is so pretty or, oh, we're totally going to read with it, but laying them out on the table and trying to actually read with it is a whole different story. So I hope you enjoyed following along as we played around with this Linestrider Tarot together. Let me know if there are other types of readings that you're interested in watching me do, or other decks that I have that you're interested in watching being test driven on camera. I'll definitely do this with some more decks now that I've gotten some idea of how to structure this video and how to make it flow. So yeah, that's all I got for today. Thanks for watching. Bye!